Christian music and Disney theme songs, and hush little baby too. She eats chocolate and cheese and she drinks Sprite. Sarah Elizabeth.
What is up, you guys? It's me, SEC. Okay, welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. If you are new and you'd like to see more of my videos, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. But in today's video, I'm very excited but also a little bit nervous to be doing this. So today I kind of want to just kind of be real with y'all and give y'all a testimony of what the Lord has done for me. And I know I have done a testimony in the past, but this is just going a little bit deeper and telling y'all a little more detail, because there's only so much you can tell in a quick little video. And as most of y'all probably know, that the Lord has done so much for each of us that it's hard to narrow all that down. So I just wanted to dig a little deeper today. So yeah, if you would like to continue on, then let's go ahead and hop into the video. Woo! Alright, so the reason that this was brought upon me was because on Sunday, this past Sunday, when I'm filming it, I was in worship and the Lord was just moving. You could feel the Spirit, like He was there, and he was just all over me. And we got onto this song called Too Good Not to Believe, and it's by Brandon Lake, I believe, and Colby Carnes, if I'm not mistaken. But if you never heard it, go listen to it. It is so wonderful. And I was just really listening to what the lyrics said and what the bridge said, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like, I have seen this happen. I know that this is true. And I was like, maybe if I share part of mine and my family's testimonies of what the Lord has done for us, maybe it would minister to some of y'all in some form or fashion. So that's what I want to talk about today, is Too Good Not to Believe. And the Lord speaks through me, through music, a lot of the time, hence why I do a lot of music themed things on this channel. But on the bridge, He was talking about certain things, and I'm just going to kind of dig deeper into that and how it applies to me and my family. So the first one is, I've seen cancer disappear. Some of you may or may not know that I am a cancer survivor of going on, I believe, 17 years. Yeah, it's almost 17 years. Right now it's about 16. But huge miracle just in that. When I was 2.5, I was diagnosed with ganglioneuroblastoma, which is one of the rarest forms of childhood cancer, and I was given a 2% chance of living, and that if I did live, I would never walk or do anything by myself again. I had a softball-sized tumor wrapped around the base of my spinal cord, and that was a miracle in itself, because typically this type of cancer will go and grow at the top of your spinal cord and spread into the brain. But mine was malignant, wrapped around benign, which means that it was cancerous and like spreading in the middle, and wrapped around benign to where it didn't spread any further than where it was already at. So I had 3 surgeries, cut hip bone to hip bone, and there was still a small piece wrapped around my spinal cord that they continued to watch. And then at age 14, I was deemed cancer-free and released from, at age 12 I was deemed cancer-free, and age 14 I was released from my hospital, which is huge deal, and I'm so grateful. But I truly do not believe that I would be here without the prayers of so many people, because not only were my mom and my dad and my brother praying for me, but my grandparents and my church family and my parents' friends, everyone within our community was praying over me. And sometimes just the miracle that I have been deemed cancer-free, it weighs on me sometimes, because when you have such a huge miracle like that happen, it's easy to be like, oh, well, it's just too good. It's too good to believe, and I'm not worthy of it, so why am I still here? Why am I the one that got saved, because so many other people have lived their lives with cancer and they didn't make it, they didn't survive. But not only was I healed while I was still on earth, but there's been so many people that I have been able to interact with, that some of them, yes, they have been healed on this side of heaven, but then some have found their restoration on the other side, because sometimes healing comes through ways we may not want it to, but it still is a form of restoration and healing. And I remember just being so overcome with grief throughout my life because of my cancer story, because I was 2.5. There's a lot of times when I feel like it's not my story to tell, that it's more so my parents' story, because it's their child that had cancer more than it was me who had cancer, because I had to deal with the repercussions of cancer. I had to deal with my stomach hurting to where I would cry if I ate anything chewy or sticky, or I would have to be harassed by some of my former peers. I would go into school dreading it because I would see people and they would judge me for what had happened to me, and they would think that I was lesser than. And so then I began to think like that myself. But the Lord has continually worked in me and reminded me that He has given me this. He has saved me for a purpose, and He has restored me for a purpose. So if right now you are going through a time of sickness, or if you have a family member going in a time of sickness, remember that you are not alone. Remember that there's a God who loves you, and that He sent His Son to die for you, and through His stripes we are healed. Whether that healing is on this side of heaven or in heaven, as long as you know that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, there will be healing. The second thing is I've seen real life resurrection. Now, our family is quite accident prone. So every one of us has a resurrection life story, for sure, absolutely. So for me, one, cancer, but two, when I was born, I was completely purple. No crying, no nothing. My doctor had overdosed my mom on epidural, and instead of it going to her, it all went to me. So I should not be here on account of that, let alone anything else. Thankfully, we got some people that actually knew what was going on, and the Lord healed me in that sense. But then for my brother, he has got Osgood-Schlatters disease, which is a disease of the knees, and he's always dealt with it with his growth plates in his knees, and it just is really painful. So he's always had to deal with that. But then when he was a junior in high school, going into his senior year, he was playing basketball and tore his ACL and meniscus. Now, obviously, y'all are probably thinking, well, you're not actually dead from that. Yes, but the future and the plan that he had sort of died in that. And it was really hard sometimes to wrap your brain around, oh, I've got to find a new future. I've got to figure out what I'm about to do here, and wrap your brain around what's about to happen. Because he loved basketball. That was his major thing. And he still loves basketball. That's not changed. But his mindset towards it had to change. And he really had to refocus his priorities, because when basketball was his priority, that was his main focus. But when you can't play basketball for over 3 months, 6 months, then something's got to change. So I had the privilege of, and the heartbreak really, because of seeing him have to be remolded, because he was really destroyed, in all honesty, because he was so devoted to basketball that when it was ripped away from him, he didn't know where to turn or what to do. And I had the privilege of being able to see him grow closer to the Lord and grow more his maturity in that, because you have to grow up when your life is being rerouted. And that was his kind of real life resurrection. My dad, his was more recent in the fact that this October, he went to go get his colonoscopy done, and this was his first one they'd ever done. And they went in and they saw this tumor, and it was a large mass, and they thought that it might be cancerous. And so they sent him into emergency surgery the next day, and they took out 1/3 of his colon because they said that if he had not come in, he would have been dead within the year. And we didn't know. He had no signs, he had no symptoms. There was nothing indicative of something wrong. He could have been gone from us because of something that was so hidden, but they ended up getting it tested, and thankfully, praise the Lord, it was not cancerous. But it was still a scare, and it was still a reality check of, hey, this is real, this could have happened. Like, let's really focus in on family, let's focus in on like why this happened, because it's very easy for our family to kind of go about our day, like come together and then go back apart, come together, come back apart, because we each have our own lives, and it's very easy to get wrapped up around. But when that happened, we really had to come together and be like, okay, let's think about this. Like, what is about to happen? What's our game plan? And it's still shocking sometimes when you think about it, because if he would have just decided, hey, I'm not going to go into this, like, I'm just going to skip and go into the next year, he may not have had the next year. My mom, she has quite a few. She and I are tied probably for the most accidental. But one of hers, she was in elementary school, I believe, sometime when she was back in school. She was walking to go to her sister in the car line, and she got hit by a car. And as she was falling, somehow the Lord allowed her jacket to end up like pillowing her head when she fell. So that was a huge thing. And then there's been so many case scenarios of where she's had to go into emergency surgery because of some health problem that was very life-threatening, and then the Lord restored her and healed her. So there's been so many times just in our family's lives that we have seen our lives be saved, and we've seen real life resurrection. Another one is I've seen mental health restored. Now, some of you may or may not know, but I have struggled with this my entire life. Going back to the cancer thing, that has always been a struggle for me, trying to wrap my brain around like being deserving or worthy enough. And I understand now that like I'm not worthy enough, but I have been privileged enough to be saved by God and to be chosen by Him to be used. And that's always been a thing I struggled with, and throughout my schooling years, I was bullied relentlessly. I would go into school dreading it and come out of school dreading it, because I love school, I love to learn, but I could not handle the people, because I managed to go to 6 different schools throughout my high school, my elementary to high school experience. And at first it was just because like I went with my parents where they went to jobs, and then the next thing I knew I was just trying every few years, trying to figure out where I was supposed to be, trying to find somewhere that I felt comfortable, that I wasn't being bullied, that I could not cry after I got home, because so many people would either verbally just bully me, or it got to the point where it was physical. And being the person I am, I didn't want to mention anything, because I was like, oh, they're just going to think that I made it up. They're just going to think that I just don't know what I'm talking about. And it got to the point where I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything without my stomach just stabbing me. And growing up, we always thought, oh, well, it's just because of your cancer, like it's just a side effect kind of thing, like it's unfortunate, but there's really nothing we can do. We went to GI doctors trying to see like what was going on, because like I seriously could not eat without my stomach feeling like knives in me. And I do think that had a factor into it, but I also know now that a major problem of that was my anxiety, because I was in and out of the doctor's office every single day while I was in school. And then in 8th grade, I was transferred into virtual school because that was the first chance that it was available in Alabama. And I have only went to the doctor 1 or 2 times since that happened. That is a miracle when you can go from every single day almost to 1 or 2 times in the past 5 years. If that's not God, I don't know what is, but he has helped my anxiety. And I'm not saying by any means that I don't struggle with it still. I will go up in front of somebody and have to do something and I'll come out like shaking. It's still a struggle, but I could not imagine not having the Lord through that. Because when my personal experience with anxiety has been that I will just be so overcome with this fear and this just dread to do something. And as I'm doing it, my brain starts going on overdrive. And the Lord is the only person that can give you a peace that surpasses all understanding. And whenever I get into those moments, I have him remind me and the peace comes over me. And I'm not saying that I just stop immediately having it, but I'm reminded to where I don't have to continually live in that anxiety and I don't have to continually live in that just destructive, toxic sense of mental health. Because sometimes this is a topic that is very easily looked over because it's not a fun topic to talk about. It's not something that we want to discuss because it is uncomfortable, and then sometimes it can feel embarrassing because there's certain expectations and certain rules that are unsaid that we're expected to follow in our day-to-day lives. And if you don't meet that, it can sometimes feel like you are letting other people down. But I'm here to say that that is not the case, that you are still worthy if you deal with anxiety or depression or anything of the sort. You are still loved and you are still capable because there's a God that is ready to take that away from you. He's ready to help you through that. It's not going to be a day where you wake up and you just magically don't have it anymore, but he will help you get through it versus go around it, because when you try and go around it, you just dig yourself deeper. There's no way to truly escape it, but there is a way to live with it and live through it, because I'm a living proof of that. And the final thing that I have is I've seen families reunited. This is a really difficult one for me because my family, we love each other so much, and we have had the privilege of having grown up, my brother and I have had the privilege of growing up with 2 parents who love each other and who have stayed together, because I know that in today's society that is a rarity, and I do not discredit that in any way, shape, or form. But just like most people, there have been ups and downs in our family's relationships and my mom and dad's relationship. And in 2017, my mom and dad got into this major fight. And most people don't understand, but my mom and dad have the way they communicate sounds like they're fighting, but they're not. It's just the way that they talk. They're both kind of loud people, so it kind of gets a little crazy sometimes, but this was a serious fight, and it scared the living daylights out of me, in all honesty, because I had never experienced anything like that. I had grown up in a house that everyone loved each other, and we had the privilege of like I said, we all did things together and everything like that. But it got so bad that my mom turned to me and was like, go pack your bags. And she started packing her bags. I thought she was joking. I had no clue that this was a reality that was about to happen. And then when I realized hey, this is real, I was in my closet just crying, drawing, trying to figure everything out. I was praying to God. I was please don't let this happen. What is happening right now? And then I was well, I've got to pack. So I just stuffed some clothes in a bag and went out. I hugged my dad and I hugged my brother, and we left, and we made it to the Waffle House parking lot just down the road. And she called one of her best friends, and they talked through it and was this is not what you want to do. This is, just think about this, think this through. And the whole time I'm just bawling my eyes out. And this was a thing that it was a like turning point in our family, because it was kind of like one of those things where two roads diverge in the wood, and I took the one less traveled. It would have been easier to just say, no, I'm good, I'm just gonna keep on going this way, I'm gonna just split from him, I'm not gonna worry with it. But instead, after my mom talked with her friend, and they kind of broke it down and like, okay, what's going on here? What's happening? We then got a call from somebody that was saying, hey, your dad's in the hospital. So my mom obviously was like, oh no. So she went back home. My dad and my brother got in the car with us, and we drove to Tennessee where my grandfather was. And at that time, he was in the hospital he was very, very sick, and it would eventually become the time that he passed away. And this was a huge, huge thing. Not only would it be the time that my family came together in the sense that we were reunited, and it was sad because it was reunited through a time of grieving and a time of disparity, but through that trial, instead of breaking farther apart, they came back together and were able to see their love for one another and to be able to experience that. And that, if that is not God, I don't know what is, because I still remember that. I still remember the feelings of uncertainty and of not knowing, and just like, what is about to happen? Like, am I about to be like separate, like, or is my family about to be separated? Like, what is about to happen? And since then, there has been no more talk, no more. I brought it up to my parents the other day, and they were like, what are you even talking about? Thankfully, the Lord has just kind of like left that in the past, and they have continued on with their relationship and continued, like, our family has continued on from that. And that has been such a blessing in the sense that we have that history, and we have that where we have had ups and downs, and we have had this brokenness, but not through our own power, our own might, because if it was left up to us, we would be continually broken. But because of the love of God and the love of God through us, He has allowed us to stay together as a family, and to stay reunited and stay united as a family when the devil attacks us, that we can come together and to pray together and to be able to support one another in our struggles. And if right now your family is going through a very difficult time, if you are in a relationship that you just are like, I love this person, I know that God has called me to them, but I just do not know what's about to happen, turn to the Lord, because He will reunite. If you know that you are called to this person, that you're called to your family, know that there is still hope. Know that there is a God who loves you and that is prepared to help you go through this. That is the biggest thing that I want y'all to gain from this today, is the Lord is too good to not believe. His miracles, His mercy, His love is too good to not believe. When people ask me about like why I'm a Christian or why I believe in a God that I've never seen, it's because I have seen Him through His works. I've seen Him working and moving in my life and the lives that surround me. I felt His love. I have felt His presence. I may not see Him in a physical form, but I don't have to, because I have heard His voice. I have been able to feel His presence. I have been able to know His love and to feel His just everything around me. I can see His beauty in the work of creation around me, and I can see it through the works of my life and through my family's life. I hope that in some way, form, or fashion that this has encouraged you and helped you by sharing some of what our family has experienced, because the Lord is good and He has restored us, and He is continually working and moving on our behalf. And I give glory and honor to Him continually. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. And if you did and you'd like to see more sit down and talk videos like this, then don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, then don't forget to hit the comment down below as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.